morning. I am Tiffany Tarpley in for Jerry Anderson on this Sunday edition of Leading Edge. Now, we just celebrated Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and Black History Month is right around the corner. And if you'd like to learn a little bit more about part of Toledo's history that isn't often reflected in the textbooks, our next guest is the perfect guide. So joining me now is Robert Smith with the African American Legacy Project here in Toledo. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And so tell me a little bit about how the African American Legacy Project got started.
Reality is we began pursuing stories about African Americans that we knew, and they seemed to be absent, and we thought that we could help to ensure some of those stories would be told for future generations. And oddly enough, we've been at it for this is our 19th year.
Wow.
Makes
That's
me,
incredible.
yeah, it really is. It really is. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so talk about how that project has grown. What kind of items are on display? What kind of information will people
Oh
find?
my. Oh my. This is a place we love for people to visit. We've got so many stories about the doctors who came here. We've got Olympic uniforms from people who actually participated and won gold medals. We tell the stories of early business people, and you would you and one of there's several African American females who were extraordinary that people would easily overlook because they were so demure, but they were great business people.
And so you've been collecting these stories and these histories for quite some time.
Yes, ma'am.
Talk a little bit about what you're doing to expand some of that work. I know you're working on a Door Street project.
Oh yeah, well we've been Door Street is a kindred spirit. I grew up not that far from Door Street, and not too far from my current location. So we knew and understood the impact and the importance of Door Street to the vitality of the overall community and specifically to the African American community. Uh, Pre-COVID, we used to do an event called Door Street Live, and we fielded 5,000 people each year. We hope that we will get to a point where we can return to that. But we want to continue to get these stories of the people who helped to frame, develop not just Door Street, but Toledo's African American community, where Door Street has always been the hub. We're working with groups of people of different age ranges and backgrounds and experiences, doctors, wives, retired people, young people who want to know the history. And on February 6th, Monday, February 6th, we will unveil that with some key people in the community. We'll invite people in to talk about how we're going to really pursue this vigilantly, if you will. We are myself, this gray hair. We know that none of us have a long time around, so we want to accumulate as many more stories than we already have to ensure that this history remains vital because at some point it will be important to look at the business district per se, how it was, and maybe we can begin to reimagine certainly not what was, but what could be. And so we want to have that information available in the near and long term.
If someone is watching this and they think, I might have a story, or what kind of stories are you looking for from people?
Well, one scintilla of information will lead to another piece of information. We turn nothing down. In fact, we're going to create the booth when we do this so people can come in and record their memories, and we can ascertain from that. We're going to do a mapping project. We've talked to the University of Toledo. We're going to create a 10 by 10-foot wall map where people can come in and put a push pin in on the map to where they first lived. And they'll fill out a registry. Of course, we're going to color code it by decades, etc. And this will be a permanent display, a permanent exhibit ongoing. So when people walk in, over a period of time, we can get this cluster of information about how this community evolved, who lived there, and we can tap those experiences to share with current and future generations what's good. We want to reimagine the future while we do this.
I love this type of stuff and the work that you're doing really at a grassroots effort to make sure that generations to come, know about their history. And talk a little bit more, because there's even more that you're working on, collaborations really within that neighborhood.
Sure. We've had a strong relationship with Adam Vina at the museum and Dr. Duran at Toledo Public Schools, and we see this opportunity to create a cultural corridor. And we've talked about some specific things, but right now our goal is to say if someone visits the African American Legacy Project and or Earthwise the museum, maybe they will take a look at and we can figure out ways to bring people to the community and create this economic opportunity for our community in general. So we are very much, and have been talking, working, and doing some specific things for the past couple of years.
So much to really talk about here. Um, if someone is interested, if they want to stop by the African American Legacy Project you're building, what do they need to do? Who do they need to contact?
So they can give us a call. It's a pretty easy number, 419-720-4369. Most importantly, we continuously look for volunteers. We're actually creating a school piece where we reached out to retired educators and others, and we've had some response to where we call it Legacy Explorers, where we want to ensure that we're maximizing this project so kids can understand their history and begin to learn at the same time.
I have to ask you, before we go, what keeps you motivated in doing this? For I'm sure this has been an idea even before 19 years ago. What keeps you going? What keeps you doing this in the community?
So first, I grew up here again. Secondly, it may sound weird, but when we walk in, I turn on the lights and I see images of Judge Robert Franklin and Mr. Frank Goldie, the first postmaster, Miss Mary Gregory, one of the first nurses in the city, and to find out how they reached such levels and how they accomplished under the circumstances that they faced, how could I not keep going?
All right. Well, thank you so much, Robert Smith with the African American Legacy Project. We'll be right back. Well, with inflation and the economy, times are tough for so many families. Add on top of that, a cancer diagnosis and the financial strain can often be magnified. Well, joining me now are Lisa and Terry with Nightingales Harvest Cancer Family Pantry. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. We're very, very happy to be here.
Well, Lisa is the CEO and Terry is the vice president. Terry, we're going to get to you in just a bit, but Lisa, I definitely want to start with you. Talk a little bit about how this got started and why.
My dad had colon cancer. He passed, and then my best girlfriend, like a sister, came down with colon cancer, and she was stage 4 right away. So I quit my job, and my husband took over our finances at home. And we started this in May of 2011. We're going to be 12 years old come May. So we're really excited. Need lots of help from the community. We've gotten lots of help. We still need donations, and donations can be in cash or food. Either or would be really wonderful.
And talk about why you felt it was so important to do something specific for cancer patients and their families. Is there a difference when it comes to families in need when we talk about cancer patients?
Well, there's two components. There's one, the patient, and then two, the caregiver, who's just as important, because they're both suffering tiredness and stress and making sure things are going good. So we give enough food, toiletries, infection control products for the whole family. So we're feeding the whole family that's in that unit.
And so Terry, when we talk about patients, you're currently in rehab right now. But you're being the vice president. I mean, you've been involved with this organization for some time. Tell us a little bit about your story. How did you get involved, and how has this helped you?
I got involved in it when I was at the Victory Center. They were talking about somewhere that could help you get food. Well, then they talked about Nightingale Harvest. I was like, dang, I better get over there. So I went over there, and Sure enough, Lisa and Ken and the whole staff greeted me, and I started getting I come out with a shopping cart full of food. I thought it was at Kroger's. I got confused. So I got home. Every 30 days, they call, you come in, you get your food, Terry. So I did. And I thought, let me give back. Let me, I'm still a pretty low healthy guy, and let me give back. So I gave back, and I volunteered every day, and I love all of them over there, Lisa and Ken and Kathy, and all of them that are involved with Nightingale. And that's how I started giving back, because I thought, I'm taking, but let me give back. Everybody wants to take, but let's give back some. That's how I looked at it.
And that's great. I mean, talk about what kind of difference does that make for you to be able to go to this place one stop and get everything you need, because you could go to Kroger, right? As you mentioned, Kroger.
What makes it thing is, one, they know what you need for your nutrition. Two, they think they care about you. That lady at Kroger don't care no more about you than the man in the moon. But they care about you at Nightingale Harvest. You're not just a name to them. You're not just something. You're somebody that they care about. And they're going to watch you through your whole process.
Lisa, talk a little bit about that process. Terry mentioned, every 30 days he was able to come by. How does this work?
Okay, so very simply, you need a referral from the physician or the cancer clinic, the nurse liaison, or the social worker, and they all know us. So they refer and send a referral via email. We contact the patient, get the patient all set up, welcome them to Nightingale's Harvest, and they're on their way. But they have to have that referral. And then there's also an application that they have to fill out. And every 30 days, they fill out a nutrition form. And we do this all over the phone to save people from being together too much. And everything's done over the phone. They pick what is best for their palate and texture. So it fits their family 100%, no waste.
Wow, that's awesome. If someone is hearing this now and they want to help, is there anything specific that you all need, that you might be in need of right now?
Basically, always meat, macaroni and cheese, always vegetables and fruit in a can. Beans, we need beans through the winter and through the summer. I mean, it's such a good source of protein for them, easy to tolerate, easy to swallow. Refried beans is a big one, because they do refried beans, cheese, and they just do a roll up with a tortilla shell. And it's very easy to tolerate. Everything from spaghetti noodles to soup to macaroni and cheese, toiletries, big on toilet paper. We need toilet paper, hand soap, dish soap, and toothbrushes and toothpaste. And we have all the infection control because we get that from an outside source.
If someone wants to get in contact with you, how do they do that?
They call 419-725-1190, and that is our main line. Or they can call the cell phone, 419-779-2961. Let us know what they want to do. If they want to do a food drive, a cash donation, just donate from the family.
Yep. But we do need
cash. Lisa, go ahead.
Well.
I'm sorry.
We do need cash as well, because we have a van that we have to pay insurance on. We have gasoline on it.
Okay.
We have upkeep that we have to pay rent where our facility is. So cash is important to us too, so we can stay functionable. But anything that somebody can do, believe me, so many hearts are touched.
All right. Well, Lisa and Terry, thank you so much for your time. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Well, our next guest is helping women understand the power they possess. Joining me now is author, social worker, and so much more, Lashana Alfred. Welcome to the show, Lashana.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And so, I know we're going to talk about your book here soon, but first, I want to talk a little bit about your backstory. What do you do to reach women right now? What is the work that you're doing within the community?
Right now, I provide family mental health counseling, individual counseling.
And what kind of things do you see in that line of work? I know you can't give specifics necessarily, but why did you feel it was important to help women understand kind of the power they possess or the authority, as you say, that they should be walking in?
Yeah. So I was raised in an impoverished neighborhood, right? And so my mom and dad both was murdered when I was younger. And I didn't realize the true impact it had on me until I became of age and began to make a lot of decisions. So it was in my own decision making, my own, seemingly setbacks and failures that as I began to develop in my own life, I'm like, wait, hold on. I need to help other women realize that they can not only heal, but they can actually own their voice, and there's power in their voice.
And so what helped you get to that point? I mean, is it something that you were able to get to on your own, or was there something in your life that happened that really brought you to this point that said, wait a minute, I need to help other people?
Yes. So I was in prison. I was incarcerated in a third world country in 1999, 2002. And so in that space, I came face to face with myself, right? Because oftentimes we say what we want to be, but our lives end up being totally opposite. So here I am behind bars, two children at home, and I'm pregnant. And it was during that time that I had to do some real deep diving, right? Self-development. And so when I got released, actually, my parole officer told me that I would be a good social worker. And that's how I actually ended up going to school.
Wow. And so you went to the University of Toledo, from what I understand.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So I graduated with my bachelor's from the University of Toledo and my master's from the University of Toledo. And I'm currently teaching there. So, it's all good. It just worked out.
Yeah, it's almost like turning your past into a purpose for others as well. Talk a little bit about your latest book. I know you've written others as well, but talk about this latest book. What is it called, and what do you want women to get from it?
Yeah, the latest book is entitled Justice Wears a Dress: The Power of a Woman's Voice. And so really helping the woman understand, or helping women understand, especially, and it may not be all women, right? I had to realize that it may not be for all women, but for that woman who feels stuck, right? Who feels as if they didn't have the role model, the nurturing that they needed as they were going through life, that has experienced a lot of trauma and they feeling stuck, right? And they may be in relationships feeling unheard. They may be in their communities feeling unheard, and really helping them understand the process of healing in order for them to own their voice.
And I guess if there was one piece of advice that you could give, I know you said, it's not all women, but what do you think it's important for all of us to know about the power we possess?
Yeah, it's important for us to know that because our influence is so great, right? And so we're constantly influencing people in our everyday life, right? Whether we're speaking or not, whether we're showing up or not. And that's one of the things I had to realize in my own life. I was influencing a lot of young ladies, a whole generation, going in the wrong direction. And so that was one of my prayers too. Like now that I got it, I want to impact as many or more that I affected when I was going in the wrong direction. So really understanding that, we as women, especially in the Black community, we hear a lot about Big Mama, and it's a lot of more of the women that was in our lives. And so we're losing that now. And I just really want to, shake up the women and really understand, like, wait, hold on, the next generation need us, right? And a lot of things that we're seeing, whether it's in our sons, our daughters, it can really have a lot to do with whether or not we as mothers, as sisters, have healed from a lot of trauma that we've experienced.
What is the best way, do you think, for women to heal from this trauma? I first of all, right, like you said, you know, there might be people who might not realize that they've had this trauma that's really impacting them today. But what would be the first step? Is it getting that therapy and reaching out?
Well, the first step is pausing and looking at our lives, right? And seeing, okay, what's missing? Right? It's a void because I may have went to college, obtained a position, may have the marriage, the house, but it's a void. I'm still feeling unsettled, right? Once you acknowledge that something is just not sitting well with you, then I would say, yes, let's go, let's reach out, get a counselor. You don't have to have the answer, right? You just have to know that you're not quite fulfilled. Even when we think about the suicidal rate, from a poverty standpoint, we think, or we could potentially think, oh, once I get money, once I get in this position, I'll be good. But then when you start looking at people who have the money, right, and who have the positions that's committing suicide, it's like that is so, that's such a myth, right? And all my life, I was believing a lie. And that's where I'm trying to help women understand, wait, we could be believing a lie. And that's what could be hindering us from reaching our goals.
Where can we find your book?
So our book is on Amazon, and it's also on my website at uchangellc.com, and that's the letter U, Change LLC.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Lashana Alfred. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We'll be right back. Thank you so much for watching this week's edition of Leading Edge. I'm Tiffany Tarpley. Have a great day.